guide you with these steps to grasp your confidence and own your power. I love that.
Look around the room. You'll see that you're not so alone after all, and that unconfidence could look like any of us.
Maybe your whole life you have been told that the best wins, but I'm telling you right now that the best known will win.
Hello, everyone. We are live in LinkedIn land, Facebook land, I think Twitter land. I don't even know where else I have this going on right now. And then this airs as a podcast as well on podcast land. So let us know in the comments where you're listening from, what city, what state, what country. We love hearing from people from all over the world. And I like to know that the messages we put out on this show are actually inspiring and changing your life. But that's enough about me. You hear from me all the time. I want you to hear from my next guest today, Dr. Harvey Castro. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it and fun to be here.
Yeah. You have a lot going on. You've got books. You're a physician. You have an MBA. You are into AI and tech but also true crime. That was an interesting thing I learned about you before the show, but maybe we'll get into that. But you're into all of these amazing things, and I just want to hear more about you and your story. So would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. My name is Dr. Harvey Castro. I'm an ER board certified physician now for over 20 years, which sounds crazy to me. And I really obviously love technology. And I'm a little bit about me. The skinny is I literally, anytime I see anything that I feel like it's a pain point, I try to solve. And then not only do I just try to solve, I tend to take things to the next level. Just a quick background about me. I'm the first person in the world to write a book on ChatGPT and healthcare back in 2022. When the first iPhone came out, I was the first person to do an app called IV Meds that gave solutions to doctors with 3 taps on their phone. And so I'm kind of this person that if I see something that I'm passionate about, I literally just jump all in.
I love that. Wow. It's everything. Like, that's all of my interests as well, but you really dive into a subject matter expertise. I want to say that it's next level. So the first person to write a book, AI and healthcare?
It was ChatGPT specifically and healthcare. Literally, the story, I got to share it with you because it's kind of interesting. It was November 2022. I'm playing with ChatGPT. I must have stumbled on it on the day it was released. And as I'm
Really?
playing with it, I said, oh my gosh, this is going to change medicine. This is going to change the way we do things. And I had this light bulb moment. I'll never forget. I went running to talk to my wife in the kitchen and I was like, honey, I'm going to write this book and it's called ChatGPT and Healthcare. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I just saw this thing today and I think it's going to change the world. And I really think she thought I was crazy because she was like, no, honey, no, nobody knows what you're talking about. You're going to write this book and they're really not going to get it. Why don't you just kind of sit on it and wait till it kind of hits the media? And I thought about it and I said, I'm gonna still write the book. So I wrote the book and I went ahead and published it within 3 weeks.
Within 3 weeks. Incredible. Well, that's automatically like what I spotted in your energy, and that's why I like you. Massive action taker. Like, you are my kind of people. I preach this all the time. Like, we can sit on an idea and we can think and theorize ourselves to oblivion, Harvey. We
Yeah.
can just sit there and think. And you know what? An ounce of doing is worth more than a pound of theorizing. That's what I like to tell myself.
I
Anyway.
like that. I like that a lot. That's a nice saying.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? But in 3 weeks, you wrote this book. Was it the day you learned about ChatGPT?
I did. I was so
Oh my
excited and my brain just kind of started exploding. I was like, oh my gosh, this is just amazing. Let me share it with the world. And it was kind of funny because I had the book out and then doctors were like, what are you talking about? And then months would go through and the same thing. And then it was really interesting. Then all of a sudden I started getting calls literally from around the world. China was calling me, Australia, Singapore, all these countries are like, could you come to our country and give a talk on this subject? And I was like, sure. So it got to the point where I had to start going virtual because my wife would divorce me if I was gone all year because I was literally flying everywhere. Um, but it was so much fun, just being able to give back to the community, give back to patients, give back to physicians. Obviously we know that healthcare professionals are burnt out. Everybody wants to retire early, especially after COVID. There's so many people wanting to leave our profession. But I thought, man, if I could start teaching people how to leverage AI, if I could help educate how maybe some of these individuals won't retire yet, hopefully they'll stay longer. So it's just been such honestly, it started as a public service announcement and it started from my heart. It wasn't for money. It wasn't for fame. None of that was involved. All of it was like, let's just do the right thing here and let's do something.
Wow. And, that's very purposeful. And I believe that, when we're operating on that like higher level, that higher plane, and thinking creatively, but also in service to others, success finds you.
No.
You become attracted to it like a magnet. Like when you really go beyond yourself, it's kind of a transformative thing, right?
Yeah. I think it's so important to follow, I know it sounds cliche, but to follow your heart and your passion and do something about it. As you said, sometimes we have our thought that we want to do something. Sometimes we come up with inventions, but we never take that first step. We're always scared of what people will say or maybe some obstacle, and it stops us. And I'm here to say, you know what? Yes, I get it. We got to be careful and cautious, but move forward. It's better to move forward slowly than not move forward at all. I call it the productivity ladder of life. We want to keep going up that ladder, and that ladder goes to infinity. But as long as we're going up that ladder, it doesn't matter that we're going up quickly. It just matters that we're going forward.
All right. Well, you're convincing me to take some action today and start my next book. I'm ready.
Awesome.
I've already been planning it because why ever go on vacation again, right? I mean, who needs a life? Just read books. But you also are not just an author of that type of book, which is obviously total game changing and industry leading, but you've got other books as well. One was the top on Amazon? I'd love to hear.
So this was kind of interesting. I was on Amazon and I was like, oh, I was telling my wife, I was like, out of all the books I've written, the one that I always sees that sells the most is this crime book that is like on Sherlock Holmes. And the skinny is how to solve crime using AI. And it's a whole curriculum that I'm teaching, people like us that we really like crime shows, but we want to learn more, but we're not going into that field, but we still want to learn the science, but make it fun using AI. And so I looked it up and I told my wife, I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is in the top 50 of forensics. I was like, whoa, like I didn't even know that. And I kept telling her, I was like, man, I keep seeing it pop up every day that it's selling. But I didn't put two and two together. So it was kind of fun. So yesterday on LinkedIn, I posted, I was like, hey, this thing was in the top 50. How exciting. And now I have to share another story. So my wife and I, gosh, for years now, every night she's like, honey, I just want to watch a crime show. I was like, all right, whatever makes you happy. If you want a crime show, let's go. And I wasn't really into it. But now I've been watching so much with her that I really got into it. And so long story short, I said, let me write a book for her. This was when AI was coming out and on ChatGPT, and I the scientist in me went crazy. I looked at all the we're watching crime stories every night. So I did all the cold cases and like doctors that kill, nurses that kill. And then and I thought, oh my gosh, what if I wrote a book on how to catch these people if we had AI? And then I thought, oh man, what if I write a book on like a curriculum, kind of teaching you some of the basics that you start learning from watching all these crime shows, but then using AI. And so it's been fun. And then I use Sherlock Holmes because it's kind of a fun thought of using him. And then I've cloned him, and I could talk about that. Also, the skinny on that one is, I know my ADHD brain here. I took all his books that he's ever written, I put it into a GPT, and then I can have his personality and the way he writes, and I can ask questions about the certain books and ask it about crime, how he would look at crime. So it's kind of geeky, but kind of fun.
I love that. And some people are listening to this and maybe they're just now learning about AI, just now learning about ChatGPT and how to implement it in their businesses. And, you know, this sounds like fantasy almost, right?
Yeah.
Would you have any just general good advice for like an entrepreneur kind of like that that is
Yeah.
just in that beginning phases of understanding it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say all of this is lifelong learning. No matter what, today it's AI, tomorrow maybe something else, maybe AI and gadgets. But as long as we're moving forward, again, the same theory. So my advice to you would say, get on the AI wagon. Maybe set up a Google Alerts with that says AI into your industry. So let's say AI in healthcare would be me, but say you're doing business, AI in business, and then see what comes out there and just make it a habit every day. Read 5 minutes and see what's going on. And then the really cool stuff is I would say follow people. I'm going to self plug myself for us, follow us. Um, I post every day on AI in healthcare. If I see some new gadget that comes out in healthcare, I'm posting about it. And if it doesn't have anything to do with healthcare, but I see it, I'm like, ooh, this would be a great tool in healthcare. And then I give it my spin and I post it. So I would encourage people out there to follow both sides, follow someone on extremes on both sides. That way you can see both sides of the story and then you can see their angle. That way you get the whole story.
I love that. That's such good advice. A mutual friend of ours, Dr. Nadia, you
Mm,
know, she's as well into the same a similar space, right? And I've
yeah.
learned so much from following both of you guys on LinkedIn and just reading all of the valuable content that you share. But I do want to say that as well. There, a lot of people say they share valuable content.
Yeah.
You really do. So I want to mention that, right?
Thank you.
This is coming from a place of, I will call it deep subject matter expertise. I don't use that very often because there's not a lot of deep subject matter experts out there. But you truly are one. So
Oh,
thank you
thank you.
for,
Thank
yeah.
you so much. That's sweet. I appreciate
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah. You've got a fan out there, at least. That's me.
Well, awesome. 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 Awesome.
But, you know, this journey that you've been on, what a career, right? So how did you, obviously we know now how you got into the AI, how you got into ChatGPT and then connecting it with healthcare. How did you get into healthcare? What was that origin story?
You know, it's a constant reminder. It's a scar right here on my left hand. I was 12 years old. I thought I was Michael Jordan when I was a kid, and I love him to death when I was a kid, seeing him play. I was running and I hit this piece of metal in New York City, and it had a piece of metal sticking out. And when it came down, it slashed my hand open. And so, long story short, I went to the ER, waited about 10 hours, and then the doctor said, We can't do anesthesia. We're just going to have to do this raw. And that was my first experience, true experience in healthcare. And after I came out of that, I said, no way. When I grow up, I'm going to be an ER doctor. I'm going to serve people and I'm going to be humble and very gracious and make sure that I always take care of their pain points, no matter what that is. And, that's how I got into healthcare. I literally come from nothing, literally grew up indigent and just didn't have money for anything. And I told myself, I'm going to work hard to become a doctor. I'm going to work hard to think outside the box. I'm going to be that leader that I want to be so that I can get out of this system. Because I was a first generation American and first person to go to college in my family.
And where's your family from? Were they
Originally from Colombia, and I was born here in New York, or I guess I'm in Dallas now, but
Wow, amazing. So much to unpack there. You and I have even another layer in common. So I
Mm,
grew up in poverty. I was the youngest of five children from a single mother.
nice.
We, we can use these past experiences and we can stay there, or we can use them as a catalyst for growth. And I think we're very similar because you know what? My biggest fear is staying the same. My biggest
Mm,
fear is not failure. My biggest fear is not ridicule. It's staying the same.
yeah, I love that. Very well said. Me too. And my kids will laugh because they know the story I'm about to say, and I always say the same thing. I said, when I'm 80 or 90 and you have to put me in some nursing home, don't come to my room. Don't ever come to my room ever, because I will not be there. Start looking for me in the other patients' rooms, because I'm gonna be doctoring everybody in the nursing home and helping them until my deathbed.
Wow. Through you found your purpose.
Yeah.
And that's where the servant mentality kind of started, was even just at that age of 12. It sounds
Yeah.
like, you know, when you went through that, it was a traumatic experience. I can't
Yeah.
imagine having surgery, right? Without no anesthesia. Like, oh my
It was
gosh, at
horrible.
12, it's traumatizing.
Yeah.
Very traumatizing. But you took that pain and you transmuted it into a purpose to serve others. And then you planned to do it until your deathbed.
Yeah.
That's to me a
Yeah.
physician. That's a true medical professional, and you don't hear about that as often as you
No.
like.
And I love what you said. You're right. We both come from the same part. We come from stresses in our past. And
Mhm.
some people take those stresses and unfortunately say, that's my stress and I can't move forward because this happened. But you and I are looking at it, it's like, no, no, no. This was actually in a blessing in disguise, because now that pushed me to be even better. It pushed me to take it to the next level. I'm not going to use that as an excuse. In fact, I'm going to use it as fuel to push me to another level. And I really believe in that. I think not that I'm advocating stress in life, but I think when these stresses happen, you could go one or two ways. And if you take it to the positive and really push you, then you have success, in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting too. A lot of people may take those past experiences and it may hinder your confidence. Obviously this show is about
Yeah.
confidence, so I do want to hint on that, because it's really, again, easy to stay some way and not evolve, not transmute yourself, right?
Yeah.
But it does take a certain amount of self-belief sometimes, and sometimes it's easy to lack a confidence, especially if you didn't grow up with a lot,
Yeah.
right? And kind of had
Yeah.
to climb your way to a lot of things. What do you think? You have some advice out there for anybody who may feel like that? Maybe they're feeling like they're at a low point. Maybe they're struggling. Maybe they just lost their jobs or something's not going right in their lives. And they're just
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to claw their way back up. What do you think?
That's a tough one. And I think at the end of the day, don't put value in stuff, in a title, and a
Yeah.
job. Put value in you and nurture who you are and just grow yourself. I think that's the best thing. And challenge yourself. I was telling a friend of mine, what are the biggest challenges your mom did as a child to you? And I said, you know what? This story right here. I was learning how to drive. I would always drive to my high school. I'd always take the feeder in New York. I would never get on the highway. And one day she grabbed the wheel as I'm driving and pushed me onto the highway and pushed me to learn how to drive in the highway with seconds. I didn't have time to think and tell her no.
That's probably a good thing there, right?
Yes. And so my point is, with everyone out there, for this piece of advice is, you need to work on yourself, push yourself. It's easy to stay stagnant. Like you said, the hardest part is just stay the way you are. But the best thing is to really push yourself. One of the things that I call in friends is the ones that call me out and say, you know what, Harvey, that's BS or that's wrong. And I'm like, whoa, thank you. Instead of getting upset, I take it the other way. I'm like, you know what, thank you, because now I know that I have to work on XYZ. And that to me is a true friend, a true spouse. And back to you, if you have something that you personally, but people out there, if you're working on something that you need more confidence, then work on it. Don't be shy about it. Flip it on its head, become obsessed about it, and start working on that to make that better. And
Yeah.
then if you have that attitude at work and in life, you're going to excel and you're going to beat your colleagues at it. And you're going to end up being that leader.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it comes back to that action aspect of it. I'm a firm believer that action eradicates self-doubt. It just eradicates it, right? I've said it before, I'll say it again. Again, we can sit and think to oblivion, or we can start taking action and just kind of figure out things as we go. And I think, generally speaking, not everybody, but a lot of people want that kind of instant gratification,
Yeah.
right? And they want
Yeah.
things done and they want it done right now. And I understand that, because
Yeah.
that's human nature. And I'm naturally impatient, I guess you could call it. So I hear that. But are the best things in life instant, Harvey? I mean, not
No.
always, right?
No. And that was a life lesson for me. I almost not that I wasn't going to be a doctor, but it kind of depressed me when I was thinking about life. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be like 30 and I'm gonna be old man by the time I'm a doctor, and all I'm gonna do is study. And I remember thinking as a teenager, I'm like, oh man, this is rough. Like, how do you make that kind of decision for the rest of your life? You know, to dedicate decades to something, you know, let alone promising to do anything when you're a teenager. But my point is, at the end of the day, don't look at, we all have to create our short-term goals, our long-term goals, and then make sure that those short eventually get you to the long. Because if you focus on the long term and we all want that instant gratification, we may not go there. But just like I said earlier, that productivity ladder, let's just walk forward slowly but surely. Because you don't want to stay stagnant. You want to keep moving forward. And at the end of the day, you want to be the best version of you.
Yeah. And you know what? It's like choose your heart too, right? Like,
Mhm.
anytime I want to give up, again, that voice just kicks in. Is this easy right now? No, it's not.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be hard either way. It's either gonna digress you or increase you. You just have to figure out which one you want. It's hard either way, right?
yeah,
Success is hard, losing weight is hard,
yeah,
getting healthy is hard, but so is being unhealthy and uncomfortable and not
yeah,
successful. So ultimately we, choose that path, choose our heart, and just have appreciation and gratitude for that journey of it all, right? And know that it's all just leading you and teaching you along the way. I think that's really impactful.
yeah, for sure.
I love that. So we've talked about a lot today. You've got a family. You came from little means, very relate to that, very similar. I actually believe, and I'm grateful for that, going back to that, because it taught me the value of hunger
Hmm.
and drive.
Yes.
And again, there's a gratitude aspect to that as well, and makes me appreciate that journey. I feel like without that struggle, I would not have been prepared to accomplish what I'm accomplishing. Do you feel a similar way?
Oh my gosh, I 110% agree. I feel very humble that God gave me the gifts to be able to be a physician, that He gave me the tools to success. And so part of those tools of success is not taking them for yourself, but it's to give it to others, to go out there and inspire others, and to go out there and help. And so I'm totally grateful for who I am and what I've done. And when people are like, Harvey, you've done so much in such a young age, I'm like, yeah, at the end of the day, whatever. It's more important, like, how did I take those tools and turn around and give it back? That to me is my legacy, not getting the MD or MBA, none of that. It's what did I do for my kids? What did I do for my spouse? What did I do for society? That PSA book that I wrote, the health ChatGPT and healthcare, it wasn't for anything other than to help. And my whole goal, if I can get one fan out there, one person to read it, be like, whoa, that was cool, mission accomplished. And so I think this life is short. We never know when our last day is. But if we're always giving and giving to the world, then on our last day, on our deathbed, we know that we gave our all.
Absolutely. That's the real legacy we all leave behind, right?
Yeah.
That really is. Well, I know that this conversation has been really engaging and inspiring. I would love to know who are the types of either people or businesses that you work with, so that we can make sure that the right people see this interview and understand that they can hire you for a service.
Yeah. So I'm working as a consultant in AI healthcare. Also helping startups with how to use AI to be more efficient. Two projects that I'm really proud of is one is I'm creating my own AI healthcare products that I'm putting out there, and I'll have some fun ones that I'll be releasing here next month. But the other one is called Help AI, and it's a simple idea where it's a little AI camera that goes over the patient's bed, and it does predictive analytics. So if someone's say 60, 70 and they're a fall risk, and if they fall and break the hip, more than likely they may pass away or some bad outcome, this camera is literally telling the nurse and everybody, hey, patient so-and-so may be getting out of bed, and soon predictive analytics. And then the other part that's really cool is it verbally tells that patient in their language, hey, ma'am, do not get out of bed. Patients, your doctor's coming or nurse. So I'm really proud of that. That's coming. Just being able to help out, you know.
Wow, that is nothing I've ever heard of before. That is truly amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible, Harvey.
Yeah.
This is something that it's again, I just want to clarify again, if there's people out there that are just now kind of getting into AI and its capabilities, it's not changing the world. It has already changed the world. Okay. So this is something that, just started getting developed really heavily like 2 years ago, I guess, ChatGPT,
Yeah.
right? But now that's already been in the works for 2 years. So businesses that implemented this 2 years ago have that curve already. So this is nothing to keep thinking about, keep considering. Should I look into this? Should I not look into this? The answer is a profound and resounding yes,
Yes.
because we want entrepreneurs to succeed. And I am a huge advocate for this. I know that it works because I utilize it in my business. And if you're a forward-thinking person, definitely you want to utilize this technology that's available. It changes the game, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yes.
There's so many things. I know we don't have much time, but I'll plant two seeds. One is last year I cloned my voice. I can take any blog that's out there, and under 3 minutes, it'll give me a fake conversation with my business partner, I talking about the blog, critiquing it. It sounds pretty real. And then it gives me the audio file and pictures that I can upload to Spotify. And it's just a way that I'm leveraging AI to produce more.
Okay, you're gonna have to help me with my audiobook.
Yes.
I've been dreading
I
doing.
have some tips for you. I have some really tips. And then I know we're running really out of time, but this last example, you're gonna die.
I love it.
Somebody on LinkedIn, I think it was May the 2nd or 3rd, posted the top AI TED Talks in the last 10 years. And so I looked at it and I thought, wow, this is cool. I went through all of it, extracted each one's lesson, and then made into a mini chapter. And then I did another chapter about that in healthcare. And I'm submitting it to the publisher today, and I hope to have it out by this weekend.
Oh my gosh, another one. All right, so now you've got me writing more books and looking into
Yes.
audiobooks. See, we're
Oh, I got some tips for you. I'll help you with your audiobook. You're gonna
I
be
need
shocked what I'm about to tell you.
yes, I need so much help with that because I have been putting it off and dreading it. So maybe we can get it released by the 1 year anniversary, which is August 18th.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
You're my new best friend. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you to all of our amazing listeners. And definitely leave a review for this show, guys. We need your support. We love your support. So let me know what resonated with you about this conversation. Let me know if you need any more information on Harvey. I'll be happy to let you know and hook you guys up and, share with you any information he has. And then also, don't forget to share this podcast on your platforms. So whether that be social media or email, we love it when you share. Sharing is caring. But either way, we will talk to you on the next episode. Take care, everybody. We will see